On Global Television News Express, Independent National Electoral Commission finalizes 2027 election timetable despite National Assembly delay in Electoral Act's passage. In business, Senate pushes to raise federal government revenue share. In sports, Confederation of African Football delegation to inspect Nigeria sites for African schools. And on the foreign scene, Washington sends forces to Nigeria after December airstrikes. Hello and welcome to all of viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ubong Osoro. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. The Department of State Services (DSS) has arraigned former Attorney General of the Federation Abubakar Malami and his son Abdulaziz on a 5-count charge of terrorism and illegal firearm possession. It was another significant courtroom moment as one of Nigeria's most powerful former law officers stood in the dock. The father and son were arraigned on a 5-count charge before the Federal High Court in Abuja. Despite the seeming delay in the passage of the amended Electoral Act currently before the National Assembly, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has assured Nigerians of its readiness for the 2027 general elections. Accordingly, the Commission said it has finalized work on the election timetable and schedule of activities. INEC Chairman Professor George Amopitong disclosed this today in Abuja at a meeting with civil society organizations. He considered that some of the items in the schedule of activities could be impacted by the time the lawmakers pass the Electoral Act. Also, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has convened a forum for media executives, producers, reporters, and on-air personalities in Abuja as part of efforts to strengthen responsible election reporting and combat misinformation. Our correspondent brings the report.
The one-day forum held in Abuja brought together journalists from across the Federal Capital Territory to deliberate on the media's role in safeguarding Nigeria's democracy. Welcoming the participants, the resident electoral commissioner for the FCT, Malam Aminu Idris, emphasized that credible elections depend largely on accurate, ethical, and professional media reportage.
As the election approaches, the media will play a decisive role in the areas of voter education and public enlightenment, countering misinformation and disinformation, providing factual, balanced, and issue-based reporting, and supporting peace through responsible headlines and narratives.
In his remarks, the National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Malam Muhammad Aruna, warned against the dangers of misinformation and disinformation, particularly during the election periods. He noted that false information has the capacity to erode public trust and undermine the credibility of elections.
On the state of our readiness for the Federal or the FCT Area Council election coming up on the 21st of this month, your presence here today underscores the shared responsibility we bear in safeguarding Nigeria's democracy. As the rec said, the timetable and schedule was first published a little over a year ago, and we've since concluded 10.
The chairman of the Nigeria Union of Journalists FCT chapter, Ms. Grace Ike, in a goodwill message, called for continuous engagement between INEC and media practitioners to strengthen voter education.
Elections are not won only at polling units. Elections are also won and lost in the information space. In today's Nigeria, misinformation spreads faster than facts, and if left unchecked, it can poison public perception, undermine trust in institutions, and threaten the peace we all desire.
Presentations at the forum focus on elections in the age of misinformation, INEC's technological innovation, including the BVAS and IREF provisions of the Electoral Act 2022, voting procedures, and updates on the online media accreditation. INEC says the forum is part of its commitment to transparent elections and sustained collaboration with the media. Ubon Usoro for Global.
The crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party has taken a fresh turn as a faction aligned with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, announces plans to conduct state congresses and a national convention to elect new party officials. Kapi Hassan reports.
Leaders of the factional board of trustees of the People's Democratic Party converge at the Lipcam residence of the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, where they outline a roadmap to reorganize the party from grassroots to the national level. Speaking at the meeting, chairman of the factional board of trustees, Mao Ahabunwa, said the party was intensifying efforts to restore internal stability by constituting caretaker committee in states affected by dispute. Ahabunwa explained that the caretaker arrangement will pave the way for fresh state congress and untimely a national convention to elect new officials. According to him, the initiative is aimed at rebuilding confidence in the PDP's democratic structure, strengthening internal cohesion and ensuring fairness in the party affairs.
The PDP has passed through turbulent waters in recent months, internal disagreements, leadership disputes, and legal contests that have tested our cohesion. Yet, the party has endured, not because of personalities, but because of institutions, not because of noise, but because of restraint, not because of force, but because of fidelity to constitutional order.
The Board of Trustees also pledges full support for the Abdurrahman Mohammed-led National Caretaker Committee, insisting that the party activities must strictly comply with the PDP constitution and established guidelines. Ahabunwa noted that the board has a moral responsibility to stabilize the party, urging members to place a collective interest above personal ambition as reforms deepen across the states.
The decisions taken at various levels of the party, particularly the cautious approach to the conduct of congresses, must be properly situated within this framework. The delay in congresses was not an abdication of responsibility. It was a deliberate act of institutional caution, born out of respect for our rules, for pending judicial processes, and the supremacy of the rule of law.
The crisis within the PDP escalated following a parallel national convention organized by a rival faction aligned with Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde in Ibadan, which produced a separate national leadership. The Wike-led faction is currently in court challenging the legality of that convention and seeking for its nullification. With both blocs preparing for a separate Congress and convention, the struggle of control of Africa's largest opposition party appears far from over, further deepening divisions within the People's Democratic Party as it continues to grapple with prolonged leadership tussles and legal battles. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News. Leaders of the factional...
The Senate has moved to strengthen Nigeria's emergency healthcare response, calling for compulsory stocking of anti-venom and other life-saving antidotes in hospitals across the country. Lawmakers said the move is critical to preventing avoidable deaths, especially in high-risk communities prone to snake bites and similar emergencies. National Assembly correspondent Anyetia Patrick reports.
The resolution followed the points of order raised by Senator Idiat Adebule, representing Lagos West, who drew attention to the tragic death of young Nigerian Ifunanya Nwangene after a snake bite incident.
Emergency medicines in both public and private school hospitals in order to prevent avoidable death and irreversible health complications.
The Senate unanimously backed the proposal, urging that compliance with minimum anti-venom and antidote stock requirements be made a prerequisite for licensing new hospitals and renewing existing operating licenses nationwide.
Be proactive as a government. I see no reason why most of our medical centers and hospitals all over the place shouldn't have medication for snake bites.
We don't have to wait until
there's a fatality through snake bites. This is a lesson for us to be proactive, that we must take healthcare very serious.
Are made available to our health centers across the length and breadth of the Federation. Such needless journeys seeking medical attention at state capitals wouldn't be necessary.
In his remarks, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, described the incident as deeply saddening, condoling with the bereaved family and Nigerians at large. He led lawmakers in observing a minute of silence in honor of the late Ifunanya.
The Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to ensure procurement, quality assurance, proper storage, and nationwide availability of safe, effective, and affordable antivenoms and critical antidotes for use in public and private hospitals with priority attention to high-risk regions. This is very good.
The Senate says the resolution is aimed at closing critical gaps in emergency care and ensuring that preventable deaths from snake bites and similar incidents are drastically reduced across the country. From the National Assembly, Aniyetie Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
Nigeria's fight against illicit drugs is shifting from force to the roots of the problem. The chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agencies, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, is calling for a strong national response to a new people-centered strategy aimed at ending cannabis cultivation, rebuilding rural economies, and strengthening national security. Speaking at a press conference in Abuja, the NDLEA chairman urged sustained support for the Alternative Development Program, Africa's first drug control initiative, focused on replacing illicit cannabis farming with lawful and sustainable livelihoods. Kikelomo Okere brings details.
Official data shows that over 14 million Nigerians use psychoactive substance, with cannabis accounting for more than 75% of illicit drugs seized by NDLEA in the past 5 years. NDLEA Chairman Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, says the alternative development models goes beyond crop substitution. It strengthens rural economies, reduces pressure on law enforcement, promotes peace in crime-prone communities, boosts food security, and improves Nigeria's global standing in drug control cooperation. The pilot scheme, recently launched in the 3 cannabis-producing communities in Ondo State, marks a major departure from enforcement-only approaches to drug control.
The communities openly renewed their hope in Nigeria and restored their confidence in government. They recognized that alternative development offers a dignified and lawful source of income for farmers, reduction in poverty and vulnerability, especially among rural households, improved food security through the introduction of viable alternative crops, and enhanced community stability and safety.
The NDLEA chairman called on all stakeholders, federal and state government, traditional rulers, development partners, the private sector, civil society, and the media to back the initiative for nationwide expansion. He also urged communities affected by illicit drugs cultivation to embrace the program and partner with the agency in building lawful and secure livelihoods.
By replacing cannabis cultivation with sustainable agricultural and economic opportunities, the program directly tackles the root causes of drug production rather than merely treating the symptoms.
The NDLEA chairman expressed confidence that replacing cannabis farms with sustainable agriculture and value chain opportunities will tackle the root cause of drug production, reduce poverty, and restore trust between government and rural community, as the alternative development program may be the game changer in securing a safer, healthier, and more prosperous Nigeria. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Tertiary Education Trust Fund has officially laid the foundation stone for a new center of excellence in public governance and leadership at the Yakubu Gowon University of Abuja. The facility is expected to become a national hub for training future leaders from across Nigeria and beyond. Global Television Priscilla Obasi reports.
The foundation stone laying ceremony took place at the center site in Jahi, Abuja, drawing university administrators, education stakeholders, and development partners. Executive Secretary of TED Fund, Sonny Echono, described the project as part of the fund's commitments to strengthening institutions through strategic infrastructure and capacity development. He urged the contractors to execute the project according to approved specifications, timelines, and world-class standards, stressing accountability and value for public funds.
Well, we are here for the foundation laying ceremony of the Abuja Leadership Center. It's a TED Fund sponsored Center of Excellence on Leadership and Governance. And this is a center that we hope will not only help to produce great leaders for this country, but it will also provide a venue where leaders from other parts of the world will come here and share their ideas, give us advice, and also make declarations that will have global, that will reverberate throughout the globe.
Vice Chancellor, Yakubu Gowon University, Professor Hakim Fawehimi, expressed gratitude for TED Fund's continued interventions in tertiary education, saying the Leadership Center will be a key platform for training, policy dialogue, and enhanced governance practices.
We've come to set up a national hub where research and training in these areas will be intensified. Many thanks powered by TED Fund, but under the auspices of their university, the University of Abuja, and now Yakubu Gowon Universities.
Also speaking, the director of the Abuja Leadership Center said the project represents a major step in institutional growth and leadership capacity development, expressing confidence that the facility will deliver lasting value to the nation.
Its permanent sites will provide a befitting environment for training, research, innovation, engagement that will shape leaders across the public and the private sectors.
The officials said that the center will serve as a dedicated training hub for aspiring leaders, including political leaders, public servants, and professionals at national and international levels. Construction of the center is now underway, and it is expected to stand as a landmark facility for leadership development, shaping future policymakers, and strengthening governance capacity in Nigeria and beyond. Priscilla Obasi, reporting for Global Television News.
The Imo State Police Command says it has intensified operations against criminal activities across the state, leading to the arrest of 25 suspects and recovery of arms, drugs, and other exhibits within the first month of 2026. The Commissioner of Police, AIG Aboki Danjuma, discloses through the Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Henry Okoye, during the press briefing at the Anti-Kidnapping Unit in Owerri. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ibe, reports.
The Commissioner of Police, who was represented by the Imo State Police Public Relations Officer, says the arrest followed intelligence-led operations targeting kidnapping, armed robbery, cultism, drug trafficking, murder, and other violent crimes across the state. Items recovered include assault rifles, ammunition, vehicles, motorcycles, and about 1,200 kilograms of substance suspected to be cannabis sativa.
We also recover a total of 2 vehicles, which you can see, a total of 400 suspected stolen tires, as well as other stolen properties, 3 motorcycles, 4 arms, and 26 rounds of live cartridges, amongst other ammunitions.
Among the suspects are alleged members of the Eastern Security Network, accused of involvement in the 2021 killing of 2 traditional rulers in Njaba local government area, alongside other kidnapping and armed robbery operations. Operatives also interceded a bus in Uguta local government area, converting 35 bags of suspected cannabis allegedly meant for criminal groups.
Also among the cases we recorded is the arrest of 2 notorious drug peddlers. On the 26th of January 2026, at about 22:00 hours, following credible intelligence, operatives of the anti-kidnapping unit intercepted an Ash J5 Ford bus conveying over 35 bags, that is 1,200 kg of weed substance suspected to be cannabis sativa to criminal networks in Osu local government area.
The Imo State Police Command urges residents to remain vigilant and continue to provide credible information to security agencies. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. News Express continues after this weather forecast with business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us.
A very warm welcome. Sustained moisture is currently being observed over the southern parts of the country, while increasing cloud cover is expected over the central. This cloudiness will lead to high humidity levels, which may result in uncomfortable weather conditions, especially over the south and parts of the central states. Now let's talk rainfall. Light rains are likely during the early morning hours across parts of Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, some parts of Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Cross River and River State. As the day progresses, we expect an increase in rainfall intensity, with thunderstorms developing particularly over the coastal belt of the country. These storms are forecast to extend inland to affect parts of Imo, Abia, Anambra, Edo, Delta, some parts of Ondo State as well. Temperatures are expected to be on the increase, which may lead to thermal discomfort. The public is advised to wear breathable clothes and stay well hydrated. And that's your weather forecast. Thank you for watching.
Now to business. President Bola Tinubu has said reforms of the oil sector have ended an era of underinvestment in Nigeria's oil and gas sector, driving up $8 billion in direct investment and up to $10 billion in capital inflows. The president, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the opening session of the 9th Nigeria International Energy Summit 2026 in Abuja, said that diversifying into international oil companies have propelled indigenous production beyond 50% in the last year. President Tinubu announced that his administration inherited a sector rich in potentials yet constrained by inefficiencies, uncertainties, and prolonged underinvestment. The Senate has begun moves to amend the 1999 Constitution to increase the federal government's share of revenue from the Federation account, arguing that the existing formula no longer reflects the scale of responsibilities borne by the center. The proposed amendment comes amid renewed debates over fiscal federalism following criticism by labor unions, civil society groups, and opposition figures who say that the rising allocations to states have not translated into improved welfare for citizens. Under the current revenue sharing formula, the federal government receives 52% of the federation revenue. The 36 states get 26.72%, while the 774 local government areas share 20%. The chairman of the BOM Liquefied Natural Gas and Logistics Base Limited, Jimmy Ntwen, has expressed the determination of the company to create more than 1,500 jobs for Akwa Ibom indigenes, provide reliable power to host communities, and drive the state's industrialization goal. The chairman, who is also the chief executive officer, confirmed that the company is ready while receiving a $2 2-year temporary certificate of occupancy from the Akwa Ibom State government. The certificate, presented by the Commissioner for Lands and Town Planning, Dr. Ubong Iyam, follows the company's completion of all statutory requirements and paves way for immediate project mobilization with long-term certificate of occupancy of over 50 years expected once construction starts. Let's go to the foreign scene now. The United States has deployed a small contingent of troops to Nigeria, marking its first official acknowledged military presence in the country since an airstrike targeted terrorist positions in the Northwest on Christmas Day of 2025. United States President Donald Trump had earlier signaled that further American military action could be taken in the country if necessary prior to the December strikes. The U.S. had conducted surveillance flights over Nigeria from neighboring Ghana in November, providing intelligence support ahead of the operations. Sweden and Denmark have announced that they are producing air defense systems worth $290 million for Ukraine as the war-torn country struggles to fend off massive Russian bombardments. Defense ministers of both countries stated during a press conference that Sweden will contribute a higher chunk, while Denmark will also make the remainder available to supply Ukraine with the Tridon Mk2 mobile anti-aircraft artillery system. Uyi Abomofwegbe brings more details.
Danish Defense Minister Troels Lund Poulsen said the donation would strengthen Ukraine's air defense capacity, which he noted has been under severe pressure in recent months. Swedish Defense Minister Per Johnson described the facility as a platform that can take out cruise missiles and long-range strike drones, with capability that the Ukrainians need due to increase of Russian long-range strike capabilities. Johnson also stressed that it is a new system developed at what he called a record pace.
So Sweden and Denmark jointly are strengthening the Ukrainian air defense capabilities with the Tridon system. It's an investment of about 2.6 billion Swedish krona. We're very grateful that Denmark is providing almost 500 million into this endeavor. This is a platform that can take out cruise missiles and can take out long-range strike drones, and it's a capability that the Ukrainians needs due to the Russian increase of the Russian long-range strike capabilities.
Johnson also said the donation would be enough for Ukraine to create its own air defense battalion if they so wish. Analysis found that Russia fired fewer drones and missiles in January compared to the month before. It, however, crippled Ukraine's energy infrastructure. The most serious electricity, heating, and water outages of the nearly 4-year war have pushed the country towards a humanitarian crisis. Uyi Agmofwegbe reporting for Global TV News.
The Confederation of African Football, CAF officials are in Nigeria to inspect facilities proposed to host the final phase of the 2026 African Schools Football Championship. As the country pushes for hosting rights, the inspection team is expected to arrive ahead of a 2-day assessment of competition venue and support infrastructure in Ikenne, Remo, and Shagamu, Ogun States. Facilities slated for inspection include the Remo Stars Stadium and the training pitches in Ikenne, Remo, the FC Igbede Stadium in Shagamu, as well as hospitals, hostels, and accommodation centers in both locations. Nigeria's performance during the inspection will determine whether they meet CAF's technical safety and logistics standards to host the Under-15 Continental Championship for boys and girls later this year. As Global Television News Express comes to an end, here's a recap of our top stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has assured Nigerians of its preparedness for the 2026 general elections, despite its passage of the amended Electoral Act currently before the National Assembly. In business, President Bola Tinubu says reforms of the oil sector ended an era of underinvestment in Nigeria's oil and gas sector, driving over $8 billion in direct investment and up to $10 billion in capital inflows. On the foreign scene, the United States has deployed a small contingent of troops to Nigeria, marking its first officially acknowledged military presence in the country since its airstrikes targeted terrorist positions in the northwest of Nigeria on Christmas Day of December 2025. And in sports, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) officials are in Nigeria to inspect facilities proposed to host the final phase of the 2026 African School Football Championship as the country pushes for hosting rights. And that's it on News Express. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly do follow us across all social media platforms and show on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. I am Ubong Osoro. Bye for now.